Catch all the best shows from your favourite fan channels on GFN Soccer TV, now streaming on Samsung TV Plus.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to DR Sports. We are live at 5 on a Friday, a bit of a rainy Friday in the UK. So I don't know if you're tucked inside, you're by the fire, watching live at 5 till 6 p.m. to go through all the latest news in the football world. We've had plenty of going on. We've obviously got the Premier League is back tonight at 8 p.m. We've got news about Ange Postecoglou. The England squad's come out today, so there's plenty to get into across the next hour. Make sure you guys on YouTube, if you like, subscribe, watch the video, get your comments in. And if you're watching on Samsung TV, big hello to you as well. But the news coming out, my co-host, we've got Josh on my left and then Laurie on my right. And then also Abby on my left, my further left as well. So we've got a stocked panel ready to get into all the action across the next hour. So what's been coming out in the last 20 minutes or so, which is an interesting news, is that after 6 games and 0 wins, Ange Postecoglou's job, his long-term future, is the word said by TalkSport, by Alex Crook of TalkSport, is under threat. So just to give you the lowdown, guys, and you at home, the lowdown about what's going on at Nottingham Forest is Ange hasn't won any of his first 6 games in charge. 4 losses against Arsenal, Swansea, Sunderland and Midtjylland. Draws to Burnley and Real Betis, one in the Premier League and one in Europe. They've scored 7 goals in 6 games and have failed to score in 2 of those 6 games. Alex Crook from TalkSport says that his long-term future is under threat, with sources at the club reluctant to provide any assurances over his current situation. The recent 3-2 loss to Midtjylland, of course, has been a big hammer blow for him internally. They sit 17th in the league table with just their 1 point ahead of Burnley, who are 18th in the relegation zone. And their next game is against Newcastle, who obviously are coming back off the back of a 4-0 win against USG in the Champions League on Wednesday. And they're looking to get points on the board in the Premier League after losing 2-1 to Arsenal last Sunday. So 6 games after Ange Postecoglou's brilliant, amazing return, it's immediately no wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, and his long-term future under threat. Abby, I'm going to throw this one to you. How do you react to this?
Well, lads, look, I love Ange for what he did for the club in terms of winning a trophy. But I think anyone with a set of eyes probably could have said to you that this was not really going to work. I'll be honest, obviously still in a job at the time of recording, but the Marinakis-Postecoglou relationship was always going to be a short-term marriage, in my opinion. 2 very fiery characters. I thought that they would probably hit a few stumbling blocks. The dismissal of Nuno was completely unfair from a Forest perspective. From a Marinakis perspective, let's not throw everyone at Forest into that. Look, Ange Ball can work. I've seen it work for 10 games, the odd other game here and there. But I don't think it was ever going to work at Forest. And I think by the time, if he makes it to the next international break, which I highly doubt he will, I think he'll be sacked by then. It's unfortunate though, because Forest obviously had such a brilliant season last year. They had the foundations, a building block for them to kind of grow on this season, and I think that Nuno would have been, very well placed to go and do that, adding quality to the side. They would have done that. They managed to keep hold of Gibbs White. Obviously they lost Elanga. They lost, who else did they lose? They lost someone else as well. Can't think. But anyway, they had an okay summer in terms of, holding on to talent. So look, they'll be very disappointed. The boos were extremely loud at full time the other night, and unsurprising, I don't even think they're all particularly aimed at Ange. I think they're actually more aimed at Marinakis, if I'm totally honest.
Well, there were also a chance of you're getting sacked in the morning.
Yeah,
by the Nottingham Forest fans.
Yes, but I think the general booing is actually, yes, it might obviously be at Ange because they were okay against Real Betis. Oh my God, why can't I talk? Against Real Betis. Thank you. They were actually okay against Real Betis, but the other performances, they can't defend, which is a key pinnacle of an Ange Postecoglou side.
But you couldn't defend that Spurs either.
I'm saying it's a key pinnacle and principle of an Ange Postecoglou side. So this is a team that actually was very good defensively last season under Nuno. And yeah, it's I don't see this marriage lasting. It's going to be annulled very quickly.
It's going to be within potentially the next
Was it
few
ever
games.
consummated?
I don't think it's been consummated. Well, to be fair, they haven't got any wins, so no.
Well, they did have the honeymoon when they shared the swimming pool together a few years ago on holiday. But
Too much
yeah, well, like you've got Laura, I'll come to you with this. Obviously, the Newcastle game they've got, it's away from home. It's at St James's Park, and they're winless in the 6 games that he's managed. But even beyond that, the international break that Abby mentions, and then after that, they've got Chelsea at home, Porto at home, Bournemouth away, United at home, Sturm Graz away, and then Leeds at home. It's not exactly the easiest run either. Like, Ange didn't have with all due respect to the clubs they played, Ange did not have a hard start. Bar the Arsenal game, they then had Swansea away, which they lost 3-2, Burnley away, which they drew 1-1, Betis away, they drew 2-2, then they lost at home to Sunderland, and then lost at home to FC Midtjylland. Like, those are the easier games of the first 12. The first 6, the first dozen are much easier than the second dozen, and he's not won any of the first dozen. So is it kind of... We talk about, Ruben Amorim here, and they're saying writing's on the wall, but has Ange like almost leapfrogged him now? Because it's like you've not won at all any games. At least Amorim's won 2 of his 6 Premier League games this season, and this one, Ange is just kind of failing and failing and failing and failing.
Yeah, I mean, it would appear that the position's, if not untenable, very close to it. 6 games, no wins. You've already lost the fans. Big style. If they're chanting that, I mean, come on now. I think it's only the Greek tax that's keeping him in a job right now, and that's going to evaporate very quickly. I agree with Abby. I'll be extremely surprised if he's there come the next international break, which is about a month away. So we got one now, and then there's another. Yeah,
next week?
I mean, it was Marinakis we're talking about. He's quite an impulsive guy.
Didn't he come in and say he has to win these cup runs because he has to win a trophy because he's come on short term? He's come in and he's not done anything. He got them out of the cup instantly, and he's now both Europa League games not really done anything. He's got 1 point.
The performance was good against Betis. It actually was, for the most part.
Yeah, but then you play Midtjylland at home and you can't
I agree
win.
with you. Obviously I have a slight soft spot for the guy, but I know that he is not really cut out to be a Premier League manager. He's just not. Like, look at his time at Tottenham, okay? Aside from the 10 games at the start, where I don't think anyone expects us to have such a good start that we had under him, and then the injuries obviously came into effect, and he still managed to get us 5th. Was it 5th that we finished that season? Yeah, 5th. So you could base it on the first season that, okay, he did okay, considering the injuries. And that's why, if everyone remembers, I was very much Ange in, running up the M1, not getting off, blah, blah, blah. But then you look at last season, you cannot lose 22 times in a campaign. I don't care what club you're at, especially one like Tottenham. You cannot lose 22 times. And if he hadn't have won that trophy, and we hadn't have gone on the run that we did in the Cup to even get to that point, they'd made a decision, my board, about keeping him, and they had to do that because then obviously we progressed further in the Cup, but he knew he was going. That, whatever his style, this open attacking football, rock and roll football, kamikaze, it's all well and good for a bit, and then it's not okay because you get found out very quickly, and there is an emphasis that needs to be on defending in the Premier League. Sometimes I think teams don't have enough emphasis on it. We see goals conceded all the time, but in an Ange system, and sometimes I was sitting there and I'm like, this isn't even Ange ball. I don't even know what this is. And with Forest, like, they've gone away from actually what was making them good last season and what they built. So Ange coming in a way, I don't think that was ever going to work. I understand why he took the job, but look, realistically, the anger should be pointed, I feel like, at Marinakis, because that's incorrect appointment. Shouldn't have got rid of Nuno, and ultimately the buck will stop with him.
I mean, let's be honest, guys. He was appointed because he's a friend of Marinakis. They're both Greek. Apparently, they have a good relationship. Like Abby says, you cannot go from having Nuno there, who's very pragmatic, very rigid and structured in the way he does things, and then appoint a guy like Ange with his style of football. It's never going to work. Forest don't have those type of players to make that work. In the event, he's actually done worse than I thought he would. I didn't think this appointment was going to work long term anyway.
But you think
he's crashed and burned quicker
one or two of them?
That's what I'm saying. He's crashed and burned quicker than I thought.
Has there ever been a manager that is sacked and they've never won one game?
The only thing that
is,
comes to mind is Crystal Palace.
Frank de Boer.
Oh, Frank de Boer
came in and got sacked immediately because he was shockingly bad.
That was less games though, wasn't it?
That was fewer games. That was
5 games?
think it was 4 games.
I think the only thing
It was around there.
Yeah.
I think the only slight difference with De Boer is that apparently he'd lost the dressing room. He'd been openly
How did he lose the
critical.
dressing room in 4 games?
What do
easy.
you think of Forest? Do you think that he has the dressing room at Forest?
No, what I'm saying is, if you come out and start criticising players, that's a very easy way
Within,
to...
I suppose,
and
within
De Boer
seconds,
did that,
yeah.
apparently. So he was immensely unpopular around the place.
Yeah.
At least Ange hasn't fallen into that trap. But, I mean, if they get beat at Newcastle handily, he could even go a weekend. Because, we know that Marinakis is a very impulsive guy.
He might have 4 days left of a paycheck,
Yeah.
and then he just gets a severance
I
fee.
honestly, I just hope he hasn't signed a lease for a year on,
That's
on a house
in Nottingham, yeah.
in Nottingham.
But realistically, he'll go back to Sydney. He'll go back to, or
Get yourself
just
back
in Australia,
to,
yeah.
At least if they
where does
sack
he go?
him.
Where does he still get sun? You can get winter sun.
Where does he go next? Like, because
holiday.
you just go back on holiday.
Holiday.
He just goes back on holiday.
SPL. Go back to the SPL.
You
Yeah, he
reckon
might
that's
get-
probably the best solution
Yeah,
for
I
him?
Get Russell
I've
Martin's
seen him go
job.
Championship.
Oh my gosh! Did you see I mean, Russell Martin's on his way out as well. I mean,
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad shout.
it's,
Mind you, he's
no, there's
manager
no,
at
there's no
Celtic,
way
so
he would
can't get
do
the
no,
Rangers.
and he loves Celtic.
The
There's
latest
no
on it,
chance.
BBC have just come out and said this, is that it's not loading. That's annoying, but I saw at least the notification that Postecoglou retains the immediate support of Nottingham Forest hierarchy, but pressure is growing following a winless start to the season.
I seem to remember Karen Brady saying similar about
Yeah,
Graham Potter.
about Potter. I mean, and the same was said about Eric Ten Hag right up until we lost to
Writing
West Ham,
on
and
the
he was immediate writing on the wall. Is he just just not good enough as a Premier League manager?
I just don't think that his style of football is okay for the Premier League. I really don't. Like, you do have to have a balance, and you can't be stuck and die on your sword. And do you know what? When people have always kind of taken the mickey out of him and said like, oh, it's who we are, mate, blah, blah. But it's actually
Who we are,
untrue,
mate.
because if you look at how Tottenham played in that lead up after Christmas, when they actually committed and they were like, right, all we've got is the cup, we're putting everything into it. Tottenham didn't play Ange ball at all. They weren't like that. They were actually a lot more pragmatic. I saw us have eight defensive players at times. It was a book out of our, leaf out of Arteta's book. So it's not.
Stadium.
It's not true.
Hey!
It's not actually true.
Arteta
loves seven defenders
I
in the
saw
club.
that little
Loves it.
backhanded
It's his
jab.
thing.
Loves it.
It's his thing.
But it's not actually true that he wouldn't adapt. He just wouldn't adapt in the Premier League. But when it came to winning a trophy, he did what he said. He said, I always win things in my second season, and he did it. And I hold my hands up to him and I say, fair on you, mate. Thank you for breaking the curse in that sense. But it just doesn't work in a footballing environment in the Premier League.
You've got to have the players to
You
do
do
that.
have to have the
Yeah,
players
when
to
he
do
was at
it.
Celtic,
But
he had the
I feel like when you're at Celtic, obviously I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Scottish League, but like it is a slower pace. Like,
And the quality.
the quality, I mean, obviously we have had a lot of good players, even Virgil van Dijk used to be at Celtic, for example. And there is quality from the SPL, but it is a different type of league. It is a completely different way of playing. And I think that when you have an Ange system and an Ange style, which is incredibly high, this high line for life and just living, dying on those principles, you get found out, you're easy to play against, and then you run out of ideas. He's not a manager that wants to adapt or has a plan B. That I can only think of one game where the in-game management was good, and that was, I think, against Brentford. I think Brentford or West Ham, I can't remember which one, where he actually changed something during the game and tactically it worked. But aside from that, I watched him over 2 seasons and there was absolutely nothing in the league that showed me that, and that was eventually why I had to get off the Ange train.
I've got one for you.
Go on then.
If Forest go to Newcastle and get pummeled, which, let's be honest, is a possibility, I reckon he'll be gone, right? And Graham Potter will be in situ at Forest.
Oh dear.
Ooh, I don't know if that's an
'cause
upgrade.
He's available. And
Yeah, well,
he's
but
Premier
will-
League manager experience.
Will
gonna hate
Marinakis
that.
want to aim a bit higher in that? Because we know,
but
Marinakis is a guy. He wants Forest to be this big European
does.
club. He's got a big ego himself, so that's why he went Part of the reason, you say with Ange, kind of their mates, but also you go, guy just won the Europa League. We're in the Europa League. He was at Spurs. He at point finished third at Spurs. He was a big name, so he's a big name for my big club. Is Graham Potter? Is he going to look at Graham Potter
Everything
and go,
you said there
that's
is
what I want?
is correct, but here's the deal. Marinakis is incredibly impulsive. We've seen it many times before. If they get smoked this weekend, that would be pretty much it for Ange, and Marinakis will say, right, you're gone, Potter, do you want the job? And that's it. That's a little
Also,
thing.
I think,
floating there.
again, where he had won a trophy and then got sacked, by Tottenham. You know, people kind of felt a bit sorry. Oh, you know, how can you sack him when he just won a trophy after 17 years of a drought? Well, this has just re-emphasised why actually it was
He became a bit of a martyr in the
it was the
football world,
correct decision. Yeah, because it was like everyone has bashed Ange for 2 years at Tottenham, saying, you know, the football is crap, and you know, you look at how many times you've lost, and this is unacceptable. And there's been outrage from the footballing community. You know, even people feeling sorry for Spurs. You know, which doesn't really happen very often. So, you know, he wins this trophy, he gets sacked. And even I, you know, people were like to me, how can you still be Ange out? Because I was like, because I've watched us lose 22 times. So it's kind of like he left on this high where his stock went up all of a sudden from like being flatlined. It's gone all the way back up. And then people have been like, okay, yeah, I guess we'll take a punt on Ange because he's just, you know, done the impossible, winning Spurs a trophy. But the football is still not good. The football wasn't good in that final, let's be honest. The football wasn't good for anything. For 9 months of last season, the football wasn't good.
Well,
and I'll even take it into the season before.
It'll be you maybe try and get some attacking players, try and get some attacking things going. You kind of play this high line, get absolutely like completely done in within 20 minutes of a game.
Well,
like,
sometimes we've done it within 2 minutes.
Judy Eden here says, I love this super chat. He says, saw Ange was appointed and took Nottingham Forest players out my FPL. I did the exact same thing. I kept Anderson in because I was like, he'll get DEFCON points because he's going to be running around the entire pitch. I took 2 Forest defenders. I had Murillo and Williams. Took a -4 to take them both out immediately.
There's no point. Matt Sells, anyone that was part of that great, you know, Forest back line last year, which they were. And I just look, they don't become bad players overnight. I think again it's a lot of disruption. So whoever they bring in next, I don't think Graham Potter will be good enough in terms of what is going to get Forest fans back on side, because you've really disrupted the whole train.
Well, I would argue that Potter is
permanent manager.
And also, sorry, they've got to a position where they're playing European football for the first time in I can't even remember how many years it is. A very, very long time. And it's like you've gone and made these changes to the puzzle, and Nuno earned that right to take them into Europe and lead them.
Yeah.
You've changed that. And now you're probably going to be out of this competition, realistically, before you even get into it, because you've chopped and changed manager so much.
You mentioned Nuno there, and I actually think as well, I don't think the players would have been a two behind his sacking, and then you bring in another manager who's making them play worse. But Josh, there's a lot of love for you in the chat right now, and I want to come to you and ask you, if you take out the Marinakis-ness of Marinakis, what's the best direction for Forest to go right now if Ange were to be sacked?
A very different direction. You sack Nuno in the first place, and he goes to a West Ham side that's arguably worse in every single position in Forest, player-wise, stuff-wise. Still gets a point against Everton. Might be new manager bounce back. Put an Ange who showed at Tottenham, can't defend, can't do it. I think it was a good sacking from Tottenham, and I think they have to look at a different manager. And I think what you said, you can't bring him in.
No. Potter.
Potter. If you bring Potter in, it's just.
No, I was just speaking to the impulsive nature of Marinakis. He's the kind of guy to say if they get smoked by Newcastle, which let's face it could happen, it might not happen, but if they did, the calls for him to go will be like extremely loud. And Marinakis, to me, appears to be the kind of guy that will just react and say, you know what, that's it. Get rid of him. Potter is available.
Yeah, but Potter isn't good. He's shown
but he's a better manager than Ange, I would say.
But he can only do it at Brighton. He showed he can do it at Brighton. Went to Chelsea, couldn't do it at Chelsea.
Can't do it at West Ham.
Went to West Ham. It's been awful.
Yeah, but this is the problem. It's like going with someone that's just available. You have to have the right fit for the right club.
No, but that's what he did with Nuno, though. That's what I'm saying. That's what he did with Nuno.
Yeah, and it was right. Like the appointment with Nuno was absolutely correct, and lots of people turned their nose up at that appointment.
I'm saying that's what he did when he sacked Nuno.
Oh, yeah.
Ange was available.
Yes.
He thought, oh yeah, I know Ange. Yeah, he's a good guy.
But he doesn't have. I don't think he's again going to have. Well, he will have the luxury because he's a bold guy. But you know, I don't think he's got going to have the backing of Forest fans if he gets an appointment wrong again, because he shouldn't have sacked Nuno in the first place. If you're going to do that, I remember feeling this way when it came to the sacking of Pochettino. I thought it was completely wrong, completely out of order. And even though we weren't on a great term, there were many factors as to why Spurs weren't performing. And I felt like if you're going to sack Poch and you're going to bring someone in, then it has to be worth it, and it has to be for someone that knows and everything like fits the ethos of the club. You go and get someone like Jose Mourinho, which was again not ever going to fit. It was never going to fit, and bar probably about 3 months, no one was happy, and the best thing that happened was COVID to Tottenham that season, realistically, and that ended just horrendously with Eric Dyer as well jumping into the crowd. So otherwise he would have been sacked a long time before that. So if you make a decision and you unstable a ship, then you need to make sure that who you're bringing in as your captain is the right fit.
Absolutely.
I've just gone on the kind of the free agent manager list, and there's a couple of names on here which I actually think, if you're thinking logically, could be decent appointments. So here are just some names I'm going to read out. You got obviously Gareth Southgate, Joachim Low, obviously the ex-Germany manager, but he's 65. Xavi.
Really? What's wrong with being 65?
What I don't know.
Very ageist.
I don't know if Marinakis is going to go, I want a young coach, fresh ideas, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? But Joachim Low, you've also got Xavi, Thiago Motta, Marco Rose, Eric Ten Hag, Eden Terzic, and what I think will be a great appointment is Gary O'Neill.
Yeah.
I reckon Gary O'Neill will be a fantastic appointment because Gary O'Neill, he was great at Wolves, and he was also great at Bournemouth.
Yes,
I think he was good at both clubs, and it could be a good stabiliser, especially time as Bournemouth. I remember
I did like Gary O'Neill
when they sacked Gary O'Neill to bring in Andoni Iraola.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's ended up being a great decision, but at the time I was like, why? Gary O'Neill's been fantastic for you, and you got rid of him. I think that could be a very good stabilising coach.
I agree with you.
For Forest, especially with Europe.
I think that would be a good appointment for Forest. I think stay away from someone like an Eric Ten Hag.
No.
It'd be so funny.
Would you not agree, Josh?
Yeah.
I don't think you want to sign Eric Ten Hag. He got sacked at Leverkusen after what? 2 games?
3 games.
Yeah.
3 games, 2 losses in the league, and then they beat a 4th division side of the cup.
And then the moment he left, new coach took over and instantly won. So you can look at him, and apparently he lost the dressing room after the first game.
There's also Sean Dyche. Bruno Lage obviously just been sacked from Benfica as well.
Dyche ball at Forest, I'm here.
Dyche ball at Forest with Chris Wood up top.
Yeah. But it could work.
It'd be cracking.
They've got big lads for defence, to defend with.
Yeah.
Could work.
I mean, there are a lot of managers out there. I've been doing a lot of manager research myself because of Man United's situation. But what managers are fairly safe at the moment, but isn't necessarily got all the fans on board, is Thomas Tuchel. And England's new squad have come out today. So I'll just read the squad out first, just so we all know everything. It's that Henderson, Pickford and Trafford as the goalkeepers. Defenders are Byrne, Gay, James, Conser, Lewis Skelly, Kwanzaa, Spence and Stones. Midfielders are Anderson, Gibbs-White, Henderson and Jordan Henderson, Loftus-Cheek, Rice and Rodgers. And the forwards are Bowen, Eze, Gordon, Kane, Rashford, Saka and Watkins. So England's next 2 games, they're against Wales. It's a friendly. In a couple of weeks' time, which is Wales are my boys, and then they're playing Latvia in a World Cup qualifier. But the main talking point,
we're always playing Latvia.
Yeah,
we're always playing Latvia or Montenegro or San Marino.
It's the same with Wales. We always play Belgium and we always play Denmark. All the time, it's endless. Yeah. But the major talking points about this England squad is you got Jordan Henderson still in there at 36, which you can either say good on him because he's been doing well at Brentford, or why haven't England moved on yet? There's also Loftus-Cheek is in there, kind of I'd say a bit of a surprise name considering obviously he's not in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be in the Premier League to get a call up. I don't feel like that.
I think I read it and I went, I forgot about him.
He's not been having
that might just be down to my
he got called up last international round as well.
And that was the first time I think since I think maybe it was 7 years that call up they got. There's players that are doing very well abroad. Tomori wasn't in that.
Tomori's not in the squad.
He wasn't included in that. Okay, interesting.
Ivan Toney's
not in there. Ivan Toney's a little too far.
No. He's a little too far away.
The other thing I was going to say is there is the 3 Villa players. You've got Konza, Watkins and Rodgers are all in there. Villa weren't great in their first 5 games, but they've now won their last 3. But it's that Bellingham, Wharton and Phil Foden are not in the squad.
And I'd arguably say Wharton is the biggest addition that I'd go. I don't understand why he's not in. He's had 3 amazing games on the bounce just now with Palace, then 19 games undefeated, and even before
omission, you mean?
Omission, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even before his injury, was very good. And then 19 games unbeaten, and I think he's definitely a part of that Palace squad. Why they are, and he showed it against Liverpool. Why he is in that midfield, and he has the game time now. I don't see why Tuchel wouldn't call him up.
I don't really understand why he's not been called up either. It's not like he hasn't been called up before.
And also, Wharton's not in the under-21s either. So it's not like he's been not pulled up for England so he can play with the under-21s. He's just not in any of the squads.
So who's his replacement, effectively?
I'd say he's in over. But I'd say Henderson's the one that's over him.
Don't get me started on that.
Because I reckon Elliot Anderson, Nottingham Forest, I think is a.
I was actually just about to say about Elliot Anderson.
I think Elliot Anderson is amazing.
Yeah.
Newcastle were. I think they had kind of like
they had to sell him.
They sold him 35 million
Minter.
for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
He's a 70 million pound midfielder easily. There are reports currently that there's a general. I know this is the trigger word for Arsenal fans particularly, but gentleman's agreement that Wharton can go for around 65-70 next summer, and I think you'll have every single top club in Europe and in the Premier League lining up for Adam Wharton.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing for Palace that Wharton's not been called up. I don't think Palace care too much about their players playing in these current fixtures. They'll want Wharton in that squad on the plane. I don't doubt.
So you're honestly telling me that he's been overlooked for Jordan Henderson?
But this is what. Yeah, this is. I think it's a bit mad.
I think it's
the only thing I can think of
crazy.
is Jordan Henderson, stable, experienced head in the squad. But then at the same time, you have players like Kane. You've got Marcus Rashford, who's been playing for England for years. You've got Mark Gay, is captain at Palace. He's 26, 27 years old. You've got Dean Henderson and Jordan Pickford, which at this point they are senior England players.
Yeah.
Do you need Jordan Henderson in that team?
Absolutely
in
not.
that squad?
I'd say no.
Absolutely not.
Because is Jordan Henderson going to the World Cup?
This is not a direct.
You say that, but I don't see why he wouldn't. It seems to me like every England manager has this thing and fetish for Jordan Henderson. I absolutely appreciate that he's been a good servant to England. I'm fine if you want him there as part of like a leadership role. Okay,
get him on the coaching staff.
But I agree with you. Put him on the coaching staff. I don't know. I just think that the omission of someone like an Elliot Anderson or an Adam Wharton, when neither of them are injured, I think is kind of crazy to not include them in the squad when you're picking Jordan Henderson at 36 years old. Like, if we're talking about longevity, yes, okay, obviously the other two are far younger and will play for England, we assume, at other points in their career. But I don't think it should come as an omission. No. For either of those two players, regardless of what's going on at Forest, it's irrelevant. He's still a standout player, still a star, and Palace have been brilliant this season. Adam Wharton has been great.
Adam Wharton's been at the complete centre of everything that Crystal Palace have done that's been fantastic. You watch Palace got the 2-1 win over Liverpool, but it was, you go on like FOTMOB or SofaScore, whatever, and it was the 8.6, 9.2 ratings for Adam Wharton. In the middle of the park in a midfield 2 system, which I've heard a billion times, can't work in the Premier League. Yeah. But if you're Adam Wharton, clearly it can.
So maybe it's someone for Amrim to buy in the summer if he's still got the job.
Oh, I do not know. We will get onto that, but I do not know.
He won't be there long enough.
I do not
Again,
know.
that's another one. That's another one who might not last till.
But just quickly on the Jordan Henderson
really
thing, I'm astonished actually. Well, actually, I'm not astonished now because it seems that Tuchel is prepared to die on that hill. But it makes absolutely no sense to me. Ridiculous, in fact, that you're keeping young guys out of the squad. And retaining Jordan Henderson, and this is not a direct slight on Henderson. He's done very well in his career.
Because we said the same when it was Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, but I can't see for the life of me how that makes any sense at all.
But he's in that squad, but I don't see him playing ever. I don't think he gets subbed on. I don't think he gets started.
I look at that. So what's
why
the
is
point?
he there?
Yeah,
like I said, like Abby said, he obviously has this influence over the younger players. If that's the case, stick him in the coaching team then.
But,
I would understand
He's
that.
Taking up my issue with Jordan Henderson as well is not just his age and we've seen him before and blah blah blah. He's actually taking the place of a player that could be instrumental to us doing well next summer. So, not for me.
Because you mentioned the whole because that is going to be what the rhetoric, so to speak, is. Experienced head. But there's like 10 of them in that squad. Yeah. And even got for example, it was like when England were doing really well under Southgate initially, 4 or 5 years ago, it was the squad's young, the squad will grow. And the squad has now grown. They don't need Jordan Henderson in there. Jordan Henderson was the experienced head when he was 31 5 years ago. Yeah. He's now 36.
And also, we don't have many international breaks, right? I know it feels like there's a lot because we have them all in very quick succession. I don't know when the next international break after November is.
March.
But it's in March. Is that another friendly?
There'll be more World Cup qualifiers.
Then more qualifiers. So, okay, so we've got not that many, and we've got a tournament in less than a year's time. And you don't need to see how Jordan Henderson is going to be in an England setup. He's been in the setup for the last 10 years. I want to see how Adam Wharton fits into your system. I want to see how Elliot Anderson fits into your system. I know everything I need to know about Jordan Henderson, and I can just go and watch him at Brentford. That's fine. I need to see the other players, how they're fitting, the more inexperienced players at an international level.
The ones who are actually going to be playing.
The ones who are actually going to be playing. Who else was left out? Phil Foden was left out.
Yeah.
Foden's out, and then
Bellingham's out. Bellingham is injured. Yeah.
Bellingham just come back from
injury. There's a little bit of a nuance to that one, isn't there?
Well, he's just come back from shoulder surgery. But then there's also others who currently are injured or aren't getting into their squads. You've got Cole Palmer, you've got Kobbie Mainoo, etc., who aren't getting into squads, but at their best are England international level players too.
Yeah. They are. I mean, well, look, it's going to be a situation where I'm sure from a United standpoint, once Amarim is not there, you'll see a lot more of Kobbie Mainoo. Can he have a revival up until the summer? But it still begs the question why I don't want to see in that squad in the summer when he makes his final squad before the tournament. I don't want to see players omitted that should be in there or given a chance to play at that, because otherwise we're just having the same conversations we did with Gareth Southgate.
But then what is your ideal midfield if everyone's fit, everyone gets called up?
I don't know because I haven't seen them all yet. I want to see the likes of I'd love to see Kobbie back. I'd love to see, Adam Wharton. I'd love to see Ellie Anderson. I'd like to see what the gelling is.
England's midfield talent.
Crazy.
When you talk about it like that, it's mental. And
that's without Cole Palmer being in the equation, without Bellingham being in the equation.
And Foden is the other one I want to touch on just quickly, and just ask you guys how you feel about Foden. Is it because he's getting into a bit of form under City now?
Yeah.
He's scored in a few games. He's starting under Pep again. Is it fair to leave him out for the likes of Anthony Gordon or Jarrod Bowen or Watkins, for example, who's barely scored this season?
To me, I don't. When it comes to Foden, anyway, I don't see what the fuss is. Or Grealish. We'll talk about that later. But Foden especially.
Is Grealish included in the squad?
No.
Really?
No.
We forgot about that.
We'll talk about Grealish. But as far as Foden goes, he's only recently just started to have a semblance of coming back to form.
Do you think he's got more that he needs to do before he can
Hell of a lot more, yeah. I mean, 6 games in, come on. I mean, he spent a whole year doing absolutely nothing. How can he... That's not fair, is it? There should be some kind of meritocracy at play.
Yeah, but I think every time Foden does play, he shows up. He showed against United. Didn't play for what?
Not for England,
games?
though.
Yeah, not for England.
He has never been consistently good for England.
Exactly, and he's not played well for England or for City prior to these few games now for at least a year. He's been dropping stinkers game after game. He's had problems outside. He said openly he's had problems. How could he be expected to walk back in just because he's fit? Nah.
Do you know
and
what?
like Dylan says, it's not like when he's played for England, he's been tearing everything up. No. He hasn't. No chance.
There is another thought that maybe he will pick a slightly more rotated or different side in November's international break.
It could be that England's only have one competitive game, because the Wales game is a friendly, and then the competitive game they have is against Latvia.
Yeah.
So it could be the case of he's simply just not picking them because he wants to help manage the injuries
and we see
of
the
players.
likes of, again, if fit, obviously Cole Palmer come back into the squad.
Yeah.
You'll see maybe Elliot Anderson, Wharton get that call up. You'll see Jack Grealish be in it because it would have been over a longer period of time. Let's
see how he's doing by January.
I think the big one that will be very telling is the March internationals.
Yeah.
Because that's realistically where you go, right, this is my rough draft.
Yeah, that's a rough
So that's what I'm
effectively.
saying. So if we give him up until January and he's still performing at the levels, then
Yeah.
I'm happy to entertain that discussion. But
I think-
6 games
I
into
think
the
Grealish
season
could
after
do
you've just
something.
come off a whole year or 2.
True.
No, a year. Sorry,
But I would also say that with the Grealish one, like and similarly to Foden, you don't become a bad player overnight. You don't do that. Like, especially when you've got that much quality in you. I feel like Grealish at City, he was pepped so much that he had no freedom to be the Grealish that we had we all saw at Villa for so long, and what earned him that price tag. And in the same way, Foden, obviously him having such a brilliant season, getting young, was it young player that he won or player of the season? Can't remember.
Foden won player of the year.
Yeah, player of the year, sorry. So, having that and then having such a drop off and having such a bad tournament in that sense as well at the Euros, but I mean everyone had a bad tournament realistically as well by an England standpoint. They did. I mean, I know that we got to a final, but let's be honest, it was not a great. But
yeah, I'd argue in this point, Grealish over Foden.
I would. Again, I'm only going off of what I've seen. I think I'm loving the resurgence of Jack Grealish because that's a player I've always enjoyed watching, and I think it's nice to see him kind of thriving in an environment. I would have taken him as well, by the way. Like, I would have thought he would have been really good for Spurs
as an extra addition for sure, for Tottenham particularly as well, because he's a bit of a maverick.
If you give him the freedom, like, he will create you something. I'm not saying it needs to be Grealish over Foden, but I'm saying that I'm interested to see how they continue to progress between now and the November international break to see if both of them are included in that draft. So I think
that's fair enough.
I think the Grealish is a slightly stronger argument, but my rationale.
You really don't like Foden, do you?
No, I rate Foden as a player. I just don't think he's done anywhere near enough for him to be. I'm surprised that people are actually mentioning his name. I thought What?
Well, it's just based off recent form. He's scored a couple goals. He's been starting games.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
if we're going to go by that metric, then there'll be a load of players that should get. Like I said, it's not like he's done well for England that you could say every time he's put on an England shirt, he's distinguished. He hasn't. Grealish, however, is slightly different because there have been games when he's played really well for England. But I still don't think he's done enough. 6 games in.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to prove yourself over realistically. Realistically,
especially
I think
when you've got the level of
the
talent
run
that
in
we've
is
got in this country at the
January.
moment.
You've got to be
Who were the
smashing it from
strikers again?
January.
Watkins, Kane.
So the out-and-out strikers, Kane and Watkins, and of course Bowen and Rashford can play there. But the forward line: Bowen, Eze, Gordon, Kane, Rashford, Saka, and Watkins.
What a line.
Exactly.
Also,
You
the resurgence of someone like Marcus Rashford, who's always been...
That's huge
he's
for
been
England, by
very
the way.
clutch for England,
That is
always.
well, England's best front
Huge.
three, and what has been for a long time is Rashford, Kane, Saka.
100%.
That's been England's best front three for 5 years.
And if that is hitting on all fronts, I mean, I know people will say, "Oh,
No,
but Harry
it's
Kane, it should be Watkins." Rubbish.
No, Harry Kane's
Absolute
set
rubbish.
17 goals in 9 games this
Nonsense,
season.
nonsense.
There is a slight
Nonsense.
caveat to
No,
that.
there was just not.
Hang on, hear me out. right?
Nonsensical.
So, listen, absolutely Harry Kane would be first choice, but there were games the last tournament where he was clearly
He
struggling.
wasn't fully fit.
I think Kane
So
was
exactly.
not fit.
So you need somebody there that.
Of course,
can,
and
He
obviously
is fit
Watkins
now.
or Ivan Toney came on and did a great job. And look, that's not. You want the captain to turn around and say, "Okay, yeah, I'm not going to play because I'm not fully fit." Fine, but that really comes down to the manager and whether or not he has to make the call at the end of the day. It's not on Harry Kane to say, "I'm not going to play" if he is performing at 80%, for example. So I feel like with Harry Kane, there is this narrative. I mean, he's done. I always think he's underrated. I feel like I have this conversation so often with people. He's so underrated, and if he had been a Manchester United player, he would be absolutely lauded up there with probably.
Best strikers of all
Best
time.
strikers of all
Most probably,
time, but
yeah.
because he was at Tottenham, whatever, he doesn't probably get the like he won't have won the accolades he should have won in terms of the Premier League, and he probably will still not get the.
I do think there's a healthy respect for him.
He won't get the clicks that he should get. Like
I do think there's a healthy respect for him.
There is,
I think
but then
there is
people
now that
moan
he's
about
left
him
Spurs, I
at a
think there is.
tournament. Now they
And
moan
what I would
about
say
him.
is
He
this
drops
as
deep.
well.
He does it because he helps. He does it. He's such a good passer of the ball as well.
Yeah.
I think that yes, okay, you can bring on a Watkins or whoever it is up front
They're
for
just not
a
as
period
good
of
as
time.
Kane.
They're never going to give you what Harry Kane gives you. He's such an all-rounder as a striker who can drop back, who can pick the pass. He's such an unbelievable passer of the ball. And sometimes I don't think people realise that because they didn't watch him week in, week out. He adapted his game, actually, because he used to get injured so much that he adapted his game so much that he then became kind of the partnership between him and Son. It was actually Son that was scoring loads of the goals.
There was that game against I want to say Southampton where Son scored 4 and Kane assisted all 4, and it was record-breaking game, wasn't it?
That's why they've got the partnership, and they've got the best duo record in Premier League history because of that combination partnership, because they would adapt. And obviously Harry Kane
I rate
would always
Harry
get a
Kane
goal
highly,
anyway.
but here's the thing, Abby. So let's project forward to the World Cup. In USA, it's going to be temperatures there of upwards of 80 degrees in some of those games.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Fair
Just to clarify.
Just to clarify. So it's going to be extremely hot. They're saying that already, and I think based on
it's
previous
hot.
history.
Just put short sleeves on.
I'm saying no. I think
it's hot.
At that level, against those types of opponents who, let's face it, you're going to be playing against a bit of nations in the world, especially if you progress through the tournament. I'm not sure if Harry Kane will be able to take on all that workload by himself.
But he doesn't.
But he'll have Saka and Rashford.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking as a number 9. You're going to need to be replacing him at certain points of the
You mean
game.
you thinking like 70 minutes in?
Yes.
Well, I
I
look,
definitely see that.
I mean,
Because we were crying out for that the last tournament, and the manager wasn't doing it.
yeah, but that's on the manager.
That's
on
on
the in-game
Southgate.
management.
Yeah, but what I'm
Harry
saying
Kane
is you
doesn't to
need
play
your
at 19
Watkins, you need your whoever it is.
It's a squad
as
game.
backups, yeah.
Even when he was 23 and playing at Spurs, he still needed to be. I mean, he would finish most games, to be fair, but you would still need a squad. Some games, you take him off for the last 20 minutes and you let someone else come on. You need fresh legs. That's fine, but we've got a stacked squad that can do that. Harry Kane's role will definitely, I feel, will still be a little bit. I think he'll probably still be a little bit deeper. I don't know, but again, if he's got someone that can give him the service, let's say you have got Foden at his best. Foden can do that in the 10. Or you've got an Eze that can do that,
So
or
Palmer.
you've got Saka, you've got Palmer,
I
you've got
love
Rashford.
Palmer,
It's not
What a player.
the onus isn't all on Harry Kane. There is also other people, and if you've got Rashford and you've got Saka performing to the levels that we know that they can do, then Harry Kane doesn't need to be on for a full 90 minutes. And we've also got the squad depth.
As long as
So
that is
much.
understood, because under Southgate, I was getting so
I agree.
frustrated with that.
But the thing is, there should never be any debate that Harry Kane starts for England.
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well,
Never
he's
ever.
the captain and all-time top goal scorer. Sorry, Josh, you were going to say something.
Yeah, but you can also look at his Bayern performances recently have been incredible, and didn't he play Cam the other day? Was it against Chelsea or was it against? He's playing more. He dropped back a lot to get all these passes off.
Pick the ball up and then put the ball on a plate for Musiala. Like, that's. Listen, I love him. I'm not even saying it.
Really?
He's a ridiculous
I
player.
will always defend him. I will defend him.
He's a
I will
ridiculous
defend him
player.
and defend him because I just think that he is one of the best this country has ever produced, and he's such like an ultimate professional as well. And he just doesn't get the. I just don't think he does. Now people say, oh, he's doing it in the Bundesliga. Oh, but it's okay for Florian Wirtz to do it in the Bundesliga, for example.
I don't know. I don't think he gets disrespected.
He does.
He definitely does.
To an
He
extent,
definitely does.
100%.
He's England's all-time top goal scorer. No one ever mentions that ever. I really don't. I don't see that. Like
Abby mentions it every time she's on the street.
Yeah, but she's a
I like
Spurs
to
fan. She loves
remind
Harry
you.
Kane. She's Harry Kane's, champion.
I've always championed Harry
You're the
Kane.
cheerleader.
One of our own.
And rightly so.
No,
I think.
he
You've got to
is
be
a
pushing it out
top
there.
player. He is
Yeah.
a top player. Even as an Arsenal fan,
Elite
I can
player.
acknowledge that straight
Elite.
away.
I think
Elite.
you grow out of it.
I've not heard many people dissing him. You may be right in terms of people not putting him alongside.
I think it's I think it's just the respect element. I don't think
Right.
people respect him. I mean, where? Okay, let me ask you a question. So in terms of numbers, his numbers factually are ridiculously good. Always have been. Like, we're looking at 20 to 30 goals a season every single season he played in the Premier League. Even when he'd been injured most of the time, he was still 17, 18. He wasn't far off, right? So you look at that and you compare him to Wayne Rooney, who is, again, one of the best to ever be out of England. Where do you then put Harry Kane in the list of actual strikers then?
Well, it depends if you're looking at talent. Natural talent, you'd have to say Rooney. In terms of effectiveness, you'd have to say Kane.
Fair.
Because Kane has... He's more professional.
I get
he's
that.
able to
I
get the
think
more out of his
Wayne
talent.
Rooney was unbelievable.
the way I see the Rooney Kane thing, I reckon if you put Rooney in the Southgate environment, he outperforms how Kane's done in the Southgate environment. Because I do think Rooney was in England in a time where the whole thing was in shambles.
Yeah, fair.
Loads of managers not getting it right, player groups and disharmony across everything. And I think in general, I think Rooney is a better Premier League player than Harry Kane and was, because I think Rooney's so underappreciated. But in the same way,
Do you really think Rooney's underappreciated?
I do think he was underappreciated sometimes. Yeah.
Do you think?
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's so.
he
I
is.
think he's rightly appreciated. I don't
I
think
think
he's
he's,
Again,
he's appreciated by a lot of
agree with
people
you.
because there's a lot of United fans out there.
Fair.
No, I'm not a United fan. Listen, Wayne Rooney was phenomenal.
Yeah,
But here's the thing.
Absolutely one of the best players the Premier League's ever seen.
The natural talent was on another
Another
stratosphere. But we have to be honest, as professional, he's even admitted it himself, that he didn't always eat the right foods and look after his weight and be the most professional. Whereas Harry Kane clearly does that. And I would argue that is a talent in itself, to maintain that level of professionalism over so many years. So he's actually got more out of his career than Wayne Rooney. Rooney is actually
retired how old
older
was
than
Rooney when he
Ronaldo,
retired?
right?
32, 33.
He's younger than Ronaldo.
He's younger than Ronaldo. I think, but you say getting more about his career. Also, I'd say Rooney's got more from his career.
But then he was also at Man
No, I'm
City.
talking about on a
But he was at a
personal
bigger
level.
club.
No, I'm talking about on a in other words, what
In
I'm
terms
saying,
of just
for,
like
for a
goals.
guy of that talent, he could still probably be playing football right now. I would argue.
What is he now? 30 what?
39? Rooney?
Yeah, I think so.
38, 39 years
I think
old.
he's a year younger than Ronaldo now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they're both just two amazing footballers. Personally, I put Rooney over Kane, but I also understand the arguments Kane over Rooney.
I'm not putting Rooney over Kane. I was having this conversation the other day and I wanted to know what you guys thought as well.
Yeah. Hey, it's it. But speaking of the Premier League, if we fast forward to the modern
Oh, you
day.
didn't talk about Bellingham. You thought you
Yeah, well, I think, but apparently he's just come back from a shoulder injury. I think that might
I think there's a little bit more to it than that.
I don't
must
know.
admit. Does
But-
anyone agree with me?
What was that? Sorry.
There's a little bit more to that than just injury. I think
He
managers.
has only just come back. I think you love a conspiracy.
Yeah, you are.
No, I think that
loves
maybe
it.
the managers just like put him in his place. Because the reason why I say that is because he's spoken about how the spirit in the last camp was so good, and he'd made the remarks about Bellingham before, about what his mum said.
I don't think this is.
I don't know, man. There's no smoke without fire. But
don't-
I'm not saying that.
I don't get why everyone loves to hate Jude.
No, far from it. I'm a big admirer of Jude Bellingham. I've seen him at Wembley for England perform outstandingly well.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the manager to me is kind of made a little statement there, as if to say, look, mate, you know what I mean, we appreciate you, we know how good you are, but I reckon there's a mixed message in there for me.
I mean, yeah, we'll find out. Especially, I think that definitely has more credence if he doesn't get selected once, like in November or in March when he is more fit.
I'm sure he will.
Malachi says Harry Kane is a better all-round player and striker. People forget Kane played at Spurs when the most creative midfielders are Winks and Sissoko.
Fair.
Is what he said. But I would also say Son is probably more creative than those two. But I guess he wasn't a midfielder; he was a winger, wasn't he?
Son was a winger, like that, and that's another reason why Harry Kane adapted his game, because he didn't get the service. So he was like,
Harry Kane's phenomenal winger, one of the best strikers the Premier League in England have ever seen, easily. Yeah. But with the Premier League and moving forward to this weekend, there is the potential for this weekend to, I would say, is it the biggest weekend yet in the league this season, because this set of results will sit with clubs for the next 2 weeks, over the international break. Liverpool have Chelsea away, while not on great form, but Chelsea aren't great form themselves, while Arsenal at home to West Ham have a great, if Liverpool do drop points, that's massive for Arsenal, but at the same time, West Ham have been your bogey team in the last couple of seasons. And then also for United, for example, a bad result against Sunderland on Saturday could hang over the head of the club for 2 weeks, knowing that Liverpool away is next. Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic has said that people in the club field, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, still wants to give Amorim a full whole season in charge, and that his job will not be under threat even when they lose to Sunderland. So we'll get on to the United bit in a bit, but Arsenal, Liverpool, I know we spoke about this dynamic, we spoke about it yesterday on this show, but 3 new panellists, want to bring it up again. Is it the biggest weekend yet for these two teams, considering who they're playing and the fact that whatever happens is set in stone for 2 weeks?
You could argue that, but then I would also argue that if you're chasing a title like we are, every week is a must-win game, literally. Every week is a must, because the margins are going to be small.
But would these results potentially be one that really swings momentum? Because
it could do.
A fortnight ago, it was Liverpool can't stop winning. Now suddenly Liverpool could lose 3 in a row.
No, it's a good question. I mean, listen, if we win tomorrow, which hopefully we do, I think we will do, then that does put a little bit of pressure on Liverpool for a few hours. And if they slip up and we go top of the table going into the international break, that is a huge psychological ploy there for Arsenal to play on. So it could be massive. But we've got to get the results. I mean, like you said, we slipped up against West Ham on a few occasions. I think I saw a stat the other day which says of the losses Arsenal have incurred at home since we've been at the Emirates, West Ham have inflicted most of those. So we do need to be watchful. They have a new manager, Nuno no less, who will have them organised, well set up, structured, all the rest of it. There's a little bit of a new manager bounce coming off that decent performance where they 1-0 down to Everton, got a draw. Probably wouldn't have got that under Potter. So we need to be watchful, but I'm confident. I'm confident we could beat West Ham and go top of the table, if only for a few hours.
How do you feel about, how confident are you that Liverpool could drop points against Chelsea?
I don't really see them slipping up against Chelsea, to be honest. Chelsea have got some injury problems. They've not been playing that well. Their manager, unbelievably, is under a bit of pressure as well. So all is not totally well there. And Liverpool, I would imagine they'll be feeling it a little bit, been under a bit of criticism, 2 games lost. I think you could see a bit of a bounce back, bit of a, what's the word when they, what's the word I'm looking for? When teams have lost a couple of games and then they go into a game full fired up.
Or just rejuvenated? Or
no, not so much rejuvenated. Yeah.
But wouldn't you argue Chelsea has that as well after how they've been performing recently? Also, they're 1-0 against Benfica, losing against United and losing against Brighton.
And also barely getting past Lincoln.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, there's a difference. Liverpool have the quality.
Liverpool have the quality, and also I think they have more of the jeopardy in that game. I think people have accepted that Chelsea are not where we thought they were when this, towards the end of the Club World Cup. Whereas Liverpool, it's like you spent your millions and you just won the league title. You can't take second.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
but I think there's a draw written all over it. The Chelsea Liverpool game.
I reckon that.
I hope you're right,
2-2
but
draw.
I could see Liverpool beating them.
Is that Stamford Bridge?
Maybe not comfortably. Yeah, but it don't matter. They've not been playing that well for me, Chelsea.
They really haven't.
They're flattered to deceive as well in some of the wins that they have had.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool will be too strong, and Liverpool really want this, especially after the backlash was the word I was looking for. There'll be a bit of a backlash. They had those 2 defeats. There's been a bit of criticism of people like Wirtz and even some little minor criticisms of Isak I've seen. You know what I mean?
You're digging.
I am.
Dig it's bad.
No, I've seen a couple of people saying, he needs to, get up to speed, and we paid all that money for him, blah blah blah. So
I think that they're looking more at Florian Wirtz than they are Alexander.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Konate's had a lot of stick as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been very consistent.
It's what Alex said the other day. Konate's either a 2 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
He really has been this season, Konate, because he's been either shocking or fantastic. Abby, how do you see these two games shaping up?
I just kicked the desk. What do I think? Yeah, I mean, in terms of obviously the title, it's still very early days, but like pendulum swings, doesn't it? So we've gone from having, Liverpool be 5 points clear effectively, and they could have extended it. They didn't do that. It's allowed Arsenal to come back into the picture a little bit more. What are you now 2 points behind? It's so early. There's going to be so many twists and turns in this season. But yes, I think in terms of mentality, Liverpool beating Chelsea. I think they haven't beat Chelsea since 2019 at Stamford Bridge.
I've just looked here, 2020.
Yeah.
It's
Is
the
it
last
2020?
time. Yeah.
So, a long time. Still 5 years or so. So I feel like it's not often that Liverpool lose. So it's like this crazy, like, oh my gosh, we're in crisis, because they're just not used to it. Whereas like with me, I'm used to it often. So I can handle
22 times.
Yes, thank you. In the league. So I feel like with them, like, it's not shambolic. We go back to a week ago, and before they play Palace, and everything's rosy, and they go to Galatasaray, which is a tough place to go. They did make changes, and it's not the end of the world. They're going to want to see a dominant performance. Chelsea absolutely can be got at as well. Liverpool can be got at too. But I think they need to. I think they need to make a statement. Who have you got again?
We've got West Ham
at home.
I mean, new manager bounce.
But I still think it's an easy win for you. I think it's going to be like 4-0, 4-1.
Why would you say such a thing?
Well, we've
He's trying to jinx it, is what it is.
I get that impression that he's trying to put pressure on
Got 2-2 written all over it.
No, I think they'll win tomorrow.
Late Saliba own goal or some heart.
Listen, if that is the case, we'll take it. But no, I do think they'll win tomorrow. But I expect West Ham to make it difficult. But ultimately, I do expect, especially when you consider the squad we've got at our disposal, which I've said on numerous occasions is, if not the strongest, then definitely one of the strongest in the Premier League. Certainly stronger than West Ham's. So, the 11 that start, if they're not producing, the manager has at his disposal players that can come on and change the game. We're at home. The atmosphere will be raucous. Yeah, I'm definitely expecting us to win.
As well, realistically, West Ham have conceded eight corners so far this season, and we know, corners are Arsenal's forte. That's where you are so strong. So,
but I'm pretty sure Nuno will be aware of that, and he'll be telling them. He's a very underrated manager.
You can tell him, but I don't know how much you can fix that within a couple.
He will make them harder to beat them. They were under Potter.
Didn't Chelsea score 4 set pieces against them?
Yeah.
I think you can change the manager all you like, and especially with all the injuries Chelsea have. In defence, mainly, I still think on set pieces, how incredible you are. You're going to score at least 2.
Well, we saw, as United fans, we saw it last season when there was the point where it was just like, no matter how much United work on it, crowd their goalkeeper, and they're done.
But even this season, we conceded 1 against them. It's the only goal we conceded against them. Yeah, corner again.
That's true.
I think stranger things have happened.
What do you mean by that?
I think stranger things have happened, and I think that West Ham, they might. What was the word you used? Rejuvenated.
They might, they might have their glow up.
What impressed me about their game the other day is they went 1-0 down to Everton. Now I'm saying, and I know it's easy to say that in hindsight, but if that had been Potter in charge, they would not have come back and drawn that game.
Absolutely not.
I'm saying that with Nuno, he will bring a new type of vibe or mentality to that West Ham team. Now, whether that will be enough to stop Arsenal on Saturday, I don't think it will. But what I am expecting is that it will be a harder game than if Potter would have been in charge. Although, to be fair, Potter did inflict defeat on Arsenal last season when they were going for a similarly bad run when he was at the club.
And also Potter, you're right. And also Potter beat Nuno 3-0 in August.
Yeah, so, it is what it is. But listen, all things being considered, if we, I keep saying this, if we are who we say we are, who we think we are,
then
we should be beating West Ham at home.
Yeah.
100%.
It's the kind of game I think that Gyökeres is like. That's why you've bought him as well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you've bought him because you need to score these 3 or 4 goals against these younger these. Like,
and we're sport for choice in selection.
Start Eze, start Gyökeres.
Who are you starting in defence if it's your choice?
My choice: right back Timber, best right back in the Premier League. Don't care what you guys say.
No, I agree with that.
I agree.
Centre back pairing, best centre back pairing in the Premier League.
Saliba and Gabriel.
Saliba and Gabriel. Now, left back, some people are saying maybe Miles comes back, but I'll probably go Calafiori for this game.
Okay.
In midfield, Zubamendi, Rice against his old club. Odegaard in the 10, because I think that's what the manager would go for. Top three, Saka, Gyökeres, and I'd go Eze on the left.
It's, I think, the most settled, like, clear first 11 I think Arsenal have had in a while as well. Like, I think you can really easily say these are the players who are the top level, because before there's been kind of arguments of, do you go Trossard or Martinelli? But realistically, you look at that sometimes and go, well, are either of them the real choices that Arsenal want to make? But now you bring Eze, for example, you go, cool, Eze starts over all of them, so it doesn't matter.
But do you not
I
want
would say
Eze
so.
through the middle? Because that's where he's most creative, and he's shown, especially in the last few games, how good he is there, giving the ball to Gyökeres and being able to create it. And Odegaard has had a bit of an injury and he's now come back, and I understand the manager maybe wants to play him, but would you not argue that Eze has also deserved to just start in the middle?
That is a great question. So for me, if it was purely down to me, I might be looking at Eze in the 10. However, more importantly, it's a manager's choice, and I'm thinking he'll go with Odegaard. That's his captain. He's a big advocate of Odegaard. You've only got to listen to the manager speak about Odegaard. His eyes light up whenever he talks about it. So he will. I've got no doubt that if he's fit, he will start. But Eze must play tomorrow, because we're going to have a lot of the ball. West Ham are going to sit deep. I've got no hesitation in saying that. We will have long periods of possession. We need to break them down, and I think Eze being on the pitch is crucial, because he has that creative spark that can unlock the door, so to speak.
But yeah, you wouldn't say, okay, Martinelli has also been in great form recently.
No, I
play
wouldn't
him
have
on the
him
left.
now. Martinelli will be good for you to come on late. When,
He's great. He's great off the bench.
Yeah,
Martinelli
when
is.
West
He's very
Ham are
good off the
tiring a
bench.
little bit from all the pressure we put on them, get him on there, or Trossard, whoever the manager deems more favoured. And yeah, I think one of the reasons why I'm confident about this game is that we have the luxury that if things are not working out, the manager can bring on 3 or 4 subs, and the level does not drop that significantly.
Yeah, no, but I think that's what you've missed. Like, as you saw, like the use of the screenshots yesterday, this was Arsenal's bench, and also this was Arsenal's injured set of players, and you go, damn, you've got some real players there. But I want to move on, just to touch on finally, Josh, you're a United fan, we're a United fan, we're in the pits at the moment. We are not having a good time.
No.
Sunderland at home, you've got Chris Sutton on his BBC Sport predictions going 1-0 win for Sunderland. You've got like almost a 50-50, it's a coin toss who might win this, even though it's a newly promoted side who are 5th versus the big mighty Manchester United who are 14th in the table. We could have got back-to-back wins against Brentford, and then we completely fluffed it. It was 3-1 to Brentford. Our goalkeeper, ball goes at centre of the goal, and then you dive, and even though it's at the centre of goal, and it's kind of how do you feel heading into this game? Because I don't feel good.
Let me start first. I will say I need to see Lemons in goal tomorrow. I've had enough of this buy and dear, a mistake every game. I just want to see. We spent 20 mil on a goalkeeper. Play him at home against Sunderland. Play him. That's how I want to start the game. From there, I think we'll win the game. I think Amarin has this thing of like, it's a new Marseille, can win again. I think he'll win this game, and then we'll lose against City, because we can't win 2 in a row. And if we win, it will be... Yeah, Liverpool, sorry. I think if we win, it will be 1 goal. I think it will be a 2-1, because we will concede.
I said on United View yesterday, if you want to check out my United podcast, What the Devil on United View, every Thursday at 1 p.m. Thank you. I said on there, I think it will be 2-2 draw.
No, I see us winning.
Because where we're at home, I think, and Bumo's getting to grips, I just really want Cunha to do something so he avoids the 007 memes, to be perfectly honest. I know that Richard has that. I think he's got that locked and loaded, the Cunha 007, so I hope Richard never gets to post that one. But yeah, Lemens has to start. He has to start in goal, because the way I look at it is you've got a goalkeeper who has a very pretty low ceiling in Altay Bayindir. So if you start him, you already know you're going to get a goalkeeper that's going to concede goals. We've not kept a clean sheet this season. Whereas Le Mans at least has the chance of being better. Yeah, he could be worse, because we have obviously the scouts and the people watching the training, and Amarin will know how he's been doing in training. But us as fans, and these other guys on the panel as well, they have no idea how Céline Le Mans is as a goalkeeper. So there's always the chance that he's worse, but there's a good chance that he's better. And so I look at it and I just think he's got to start.
Binder was pretty good the other day, though, in that game also.
He was
Well,
good till the third goal, but-
he saved a couple shots, but he was horrendous for the third goal and still conceded 3. Trudy Eden says, Soboslai, Maka, Grav to step up on Saturday, Nuno rise. Yeah, there is, we're going to have to wrap up the show now, but there is plenty to come on DR Sports in the next couple of days. You've got Best of Enemies dropping at 6:30 on DR Sports YouTube channel and Samsung TV, of course, at some point, so keep up for that. You've got Saturday Football Show, which Abby will be back on for tomorrow at 7:30. You've got FCM also on Sunday to wrap up all the Premier League's action at 7 p.m. live, and then Monday you've got the weekend review with all the big guys. You've got Robbie and then Abby and AGT, Flex and Co. We'll all be back there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Live at 5 will be back on Monday at 5 p.m. to wrap up all of the weekend football news, and we will see you then.